Ba da ba dee ba da boo. A la ba da 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 boo. La ba da beep ba ba da da ba ba da boo. La ba da beep ba ba doo. Ba da boo. Ba da beep ba 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 boo ba 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 da ba. Hey, it's Mardi Gras. It's exciting. All right, here we go. And now, where's my picture? Voila. Ooh. Ba-do-ba-dee-ba-ba-dee-ba-ba-ba. This is the brush we're after. First 5. Welcome on in. Ooh. Vinny Boy ASMR. That's exciting. We're going to kick off with... Yeah, let's do our Phthalo Blues. Keep it on the colour. And I'm just going to get some of this little stuff in here. There we go. 1 and 2. Hey, Pink, how we doing? Op shops, second-hand shops. That's where this all comes from. Even the t-shirt, in fact. Even the t-shirt. Now, for this job here, for this project, we're not normally working on a square-size portrait. Or one this size. So, we're going to see something be made completely from scratch in square size. How cute. Ed Gamble. Well, that sounds nice. I'm sure Ed Gamble's a hell of a guy. There we go. Throw this through here. And hey, Jules. I see you popping in. You sneak around the canvas here and get the sides. Would you love me like my dog does, baby? Bada bing, ba ba bada bing. There we go. Nose here. Greetings, how we doing? Catherine from Ireland. All we have is rain. I'm sorry to hear that, Catherine, but I'm glad you're here with me. No sound. Carmen, that might be on you. It's telling me sound's going into it, but if you don't have sound, you might just have the stream muted, something quite simple. So am I. You know, I get that a lot about this easel. It's a good easel. And I went in there to buy another one actually about a week ago and they don't stock them. So I can't tell you where it's from, but if I do find out, like an international retailer who sells them, I'll definitely put the link up online for you guys. To be like, this is where you get the good easels from. But artist or not, this is possibly the best easel the old market can give you. As the youth of today would say, this easel slaps. Cool. Steve's got sound. Go on you, Steve. What time is it, Jamie, in England right now? Is it middle of the night for you? And when you say hi from England, whereabouts? Whereabouts? I'm in New Zealand, so you're watching a stream in Auckland, New Zealand, which is the biggest city in New Zealand, and it's up the top in the north. So there's a North Island, a South Island, and this is the North Island. And I'm painting a picture of a lady and a dog, so you might start to see your favourite shorts. Yeah, cool. I mean, they're actually mine too, because I can wear them to the gym, and I can wear them somewhere like smart casual. they really do a good mix, because since they've got more room around the waist, you can actually bring your legs right up while you're working out. So, not that I've been to the gym in 3 days, but if I had been, that'd be convenient for it. Sorry, picture here. So I'll show you the reference picture, and it's going to be a test, a real test, because it's a little bit more abstract than what we normally do. Voila. So there's a lady here, her hair sort of obscures her whole face. The dog's down there, the fluff sort of obscures the dog, and the only 2 points that, sorry, I'll say 3 points. 3 points that actually tell us what's happening is the eye, her right-hand eye. For us, it's on the right-hand eye up here. The other one's completely covered. The dog's eye, which, since it's the same color as the rest of the picture there, that tiny bit of white, and the eye itself, which we'll probably chuck a bit of blue and purple into, so it stands out from the rest of the black coat. And then probably the dog's nose a little bit. But apart from that, this is going to be a really abstract piece. There's not going to be a lot to work off. You can already see the main features are in place. We've got the eye, the dog's head, and the hair will be teaming down here. But don't think that we're going to get more realism than already exists in this picture. It's only going to get more abstract. And so, how do we provide value in the picture? And when I say value, how do we provide meaning? How do we capture something beyond this picture? Look at that here, and look at the dog's textures. So what we're after, because this is a companion here, and this is a connection between lady and companion, we can capture the lady. This is classic hair. This is wet hair straight from the ocean, slightly matted with that sort of sea salt in it, and it's sort of dry but not completely. There's still moisture in it. That'll be classic her. And so we need to make sure we put a lot of attention into bringing that hair character into the picture. Likewise, these white hairs around the dog's face, and especially this dot, this is the iconography, or that's the wrong word, this is the symbolic little moments that'll help us best understand a dog. So that's what we need to do. Make sure those 2 characteristics are really well done. The dog's fur and those small features on the fur, her hair and how it flows, and then even though it's abstract, we should still get the essence of the picture, which is what Impressionism's all about. So, as with any Impressionist painting, we're going to start wild in all directions. I want to get rough paint everywhere to start with. So when I come back and start refining detail, it's always going to have that primal element underneath. That's what we're after. Collie Spring Spaniel. Great name for it, by the way. You reckon you're going to be able to paint that? Great question. You know what? The fact that there's a question of whether we can or couldn't actually makes it way more interesting. Actually makes it worth doing. And this is where commissions come in quite fun, in that if I wasn't doing a commission and I was always doing my own little projects and deciding what I was going to paint, we wouldn't be doing this. We'd be doing something completely different. And that's kind of important, because that means this success or failure is going to stretch me. It's going to change me. It's going to build me. And from it, I don't think we'll learn to avoid these kind of pictures, but we'll almost certainly learn how to approach them in future. Maybe it leans itself more to being a watercolor painting. Maybe I needed to adjust the faces and redraw the picture first to bring both eyes and a mouth into it, so there was more elements to see. Doesn't matter. We're here right now, and I'm excited. And I have had a talk to the client as well, and said, hey, it's likely with my style and the amount of actual easily identifiable detail in the picture, it's likely you won't actually make out the subject as easily. And she says, no. We know this photo very, very well. And so if you can capture the photo and the wild style that it's in, we'll be able to recognize it. And so as an artist, this one's going to take a lot of trust and actually not getting caught up on the fact that there's 2 faces in it, but really concentrating on the textures that are active in the work. That's going to be important. Everyone's like, okay, cool. Can you shut up and paint it? No, no one's saying that, surely. Surely. Okay. Now this is the exact same colour over twice, and you can see how it comes up darker straight away. Because since there's fast dry mediums through the paint, they're actually thinner and more transparent. So we can choose areas that we want a greater amount of that ultramarine saturation coming into it. Just kind of a fun element to the whole shooting box. Here we go. Here we are. Beautiful. Down through there. Oh, John, the first one was the good one. I won't recite it here, but I'll jump on there and get back to you. Sorry, John, that's an absolute pain. It's all on me. Already famous. Well, I can't understand why you'd want to link up already famous. If you're already famous, you don't need me. Just get out there and enjoy yourself. Unless you want to learn how to paint, in which case you're already in the right place. Don't waste petrol. Just hang out here. You'll be fine. You'll be absolutely fine. Now, yeah, we're going to drag that through here. Imagine if that worked though, Sky LA. Imagine if I was like, oh guys, just pause the stream. I've got to go grab a coffee right now with Already and Famous. I'll catch you all later. Well, the bad news is, or the good news for me is, I've already got my coffee here. Check this out. Now, Shelby made this cup. So she actually turned this on one of those things. You might have seen it on the Instagram feed with Ghost theme song in the background. I forget how it goes. But she made this cup, and it's actually got, if I find it, there we go. There's an S there. That's S for Shelby, not S for Seb. Pretty fun. And so I love to have coffees in it. But the one problem with it is since it's not glazed, it's the old school technique that they use in Java, which is a place to the west of Bali in Indonesia. It does soak up or make your lips dry while you're drinking from it. Small price to pay for a great story. So I just go with it. But that's my favourite mug. My absolute favourite mug. It's that classic thing. I think it's the, what do they say, nesting? Or when you become clucky. You know, when you're about to have a kid and then you start, or someone's about to have a kid and they start, you know, nesting and preparing the house and things. I think that's why I love that mug so much right now, because I see a lot of dads with like world's best dad mug and things, or just anything that their kids make them and it goes on the fridge. Not that Shelby's my kid, but the fact that it was made for me and it's special and sentimental, I think I'm more gravitating towards things like that at the moment, which makes that pretty special. Just like there's been a few special gifts come into the studio as well. Steve sent some fantastic coffee mugs in, all the way from Hawaii, and a blanket for the little tacker. That was absolutely lovely of him. All sorts of things. Cheers, giggles. NZ Heather. Where in New Zealand are you coming from, Heather? Where in New Zealand are you coming from? NZ Heather. I'm going to guess Gisborne. That's my guess. Tianao. Alright. That's not Gisborne. I'm wrong. Now to get this here right, we're going to go over the top with some of these dark details first, and then build it up with blotches until at the end we remove the transparency altogether and do big washing strokes to drag lines through it. Hey Jay, and hey Sarah. We've got a fun crew hanging out here. people just gravitate to an empty canvas, eh? We see an empty canvas being made all of a sudden, and everyone's just like, I want to see where this goes. And then the numbers dwindle once all the paint's on it, and they're like, oh, nah, don't like it. No, that's a lie. Everyone enjoys it. I think there's some fun about white being, I don't want to say the word tarnished, but changed in the early layers. When those initial paint strokes hit that white canvas. There's a satisfaction to that that's sort of unparalleled. But when you do start canvases, I mean, I'm only starting about 3 or 4 a week, so it's not that bad, but if you do start 4 or 5 canvases a day, you get really, really mentally drained, because I know I say that first stroke should be easy. It is easy, but actually it is mentally draining to actually start the process. Because you're making a relationship with something new. I think that's the best way to put it. It gets difficult because you're making a relationship with something new. I mean, I guess think of it like speed dating. After you've done, like, what, 10 speed dates in a day, you're going to be really tired actually investing in or getting to know new people. You're going to be done. Art's kind of similar. So you'd think, oh, I could belt out 10, 20 abstract pieces a day. Not if they are real, authentic expressions. They're going to drain you. And it's weird, especially for me when I come from a farming background, to think that something that takes little physical effort and is just visual in that sense would actually drain you. You'd think, no, I could just keep doing it. And then you hit this psychological wall where you're just mentally burnt out. And you're like, why is this happening to me? It's just mentally draining. And usually the things that are mentally draining are expressionism. Impressionism's draining, definitely. If you're doing it correctly, expressionism and abstract artwork should really take it out of you, because you're trying to forget reality and use emotions and feelings to drive the artwork. So to well that up, that's like a non-stop therapy session, or a non-stop Alcoholics Anonymous, where you're just trying to actually be vulnerable and expose yourself through the art. Talk about, yeah, it should be a really, really tiring, exhausting process. And you're like, well, why would you want to go through that? Because anything worth doing takes energy. Cheers, John. Same here. Dad's a dairy farmer and a thunder falcon. I'm just going to watch this real quick. I feel like I'm playing an RTS. Also, first off, thanks, John. And second off, I've got a couple of friends who are playing Diablo. And I've been considering jumping on too. I don't really have time, so I'm not going to have a good character. But it might be quite fun to run into, on the new Diablo games, run to Crimson Jaguar a few times. Maybe, if I jump on it. Sorry, Dad's a dairy farmer, Mum's a nurse, both gone. Sorry to hear that. But Dad's job and brother never ending. If you work on a farm, you are always working. There's always something to do. And you typically find with those old farmers and young farmers, that mentality goes into their entire lives. They're built to never stop. And it's a cool combination, farmer and nurse. You're raised by good people. You used to play that all the time? Wait, so you've stopped playing now? Because I've got a soft spot for RPG games. A real soft spot. And the reason why I leave them alone, this reason will crack you up. I get addicted. I spent hundreds of hours on Skyrim when I was younger. When that game came out, I went straight to the warehouse, our version of Kmart, and Walmart, sorry, and I bought the game at full cost, which at that time was like $120, and I just started playing it. I was a Khajiit, and I put about maybe 300 hours into the Khajiit. I was lockpicking, and I had a little bow, and I was... What else was I doing? I was all over the show. I had little daggers, wearing my elven armor. I think that was the most fun way to play too. Travel light. And then when I played the game the second time around, I went full on alchemy, because the potions, oh my god, you can sell the potions to merchants for so much ching-chang. So then you just had an endless supply of money, which probably made the game less fun, but actually when you're doing your second time around, having endless gold, it's novel. And then I played an orc, which was just meat, smash, and that was a cool way to play, especially in contrast to the Khajiit. But definitely the Khajiit was the most fun. The lockpicking and things was a fun mechanic. And then there was, I did have a go with a night elf, or wood elf, whatever they, high elf. But by that point, I'd played the storyline through all the possible modes, so I couldn't actually get a whole lot out of the spells and things. I was just redoing storyline. It was less enjoyable for me. But I'd go back to it now. If I could do it again now, I'd do Morrowind probably, which is the one before Oblivion. Sorry for everyone who's not a geek here. Yeah, Morrowind would be the one I'd go for. I did it before, but I like those old school games. They're simpler, they're therapeutic. Don't tempt me. Yeah, I agree. When I played Diablo 2, John, I was the Amazon. I love the ability to be able to jump in and out of combat whenever you wanted to. I thought that was really cool and fun. But I haven't actually... What else did I go into? I did a little bit of Paladins. Back in Diablo 2 when the Paladin's hammers dealt pure damage. And so you could use Hammerdins and run through the harder difficulties with far more ease. Did a bit of that, but I think I played a little bit of a no, that's right, Droid. I dabbled with Lightning Assassin, but I didn't like the gameplay as much. I really went for the Fire Fist Bear Droid. That was my go-to. And g'day Steve, how we doing? I was just talking about the cups you sent through to the studio in preparation for a baby on the way. 4-leaf? Yes, I did grow up on a farm. I did. That was back in, I was born on a farm, I was raised on a farm. I spent 1 year of my life in Laos, which is the country beside Thailand. And the lady who was our nanny in Laos actually came back with us, and she now lives in Rotorua. I used to actually live with her back in my 20s. She's basically a sister of mine. I refer to her as my sister for all intents and purposes. On everything but paper and blood, she's my sister. You a monk? Yeah, cool. When I was on Guild Wars, John, I was playing, which is another game that's all about the PvP play. I was a mesmer and a monk. The monk was fun because it was so easy to find friends. When you were the monk, you could easily just, excuse me, you could easily just be like, hey, who wants to be in a party with me for this next quest? And everyone's like, monk, he's a healer, bring him along. And you're like, yeah, free friends. And that's sort of cool. A lot of people were running around as the, rangers were okay, they had some healing abilities. Mesmers were so fragile, they were good counter players, but not that great in terms of actually defending themselves. They need protecting. So I think, and if you were a tank, it wasn't too hard to find parties, but assassins and things, which were really fun to play, struggled because there were so many people who wanted to be assassins and DPS people that actually you'd be like, no, where's the monks at? And so if you were a monk, you have to slip in with a bunch of cool parties, and unless you were a bad monk, in which case you'd get a reputation that would be like, no, He doesn't heal us as well as he should be. But I was a good monk. I'd heal up. That was fun. Cheers, Four-Leaf. You're a legend. The live received cheer you up. 10 minutes of 1.6 times member values for all memberships for the team. View more details in activity members thank you. Oh, that's exciting, team. I'm not quite sure what that means, even though I read it word for word, but that's happening right now, which is pretty exciting. Did that just say... There's a thing called the Champions League team, and it just told me, unless I read it wrong, that we're number 4. Champions League C5, number 4. Now, I don't know what that means, but I think it's exciting for everyone here. It sounds like we didn't make it in high school, but now we're in the cool club. Oh dear. I mean, it's funny. We talk about being cool in high school, but I look back at photos of what I thought the cool kids were. Shocking. Truly shocking. Like, we didn't know what cool was. Everyone was shooting from the hip. I just wish there was someone who was a little bit more free who could have come to the school and been like, hey, none of you know what cool is. You can all just relax and be yourselves. Stop trying to impress or fit in. Like, we were literally, all of us kids at high school were like a group of zebras. If you know the, zebras are crazy in the way that they have these crazy patterns on their bodies, not to blend them with the environment, but to blend them with each other. And for the rest of the environment, they look completely ridiculous. And that's how high school feels, especially looking back at it now. We all looked ridiculous. We were 15-year-old kids, and we were doing that thing where you spike your hair up at the front with like really strong wax and gels, so you got the sticky out fringe like a Not Another Teen Movie. That was our style. And we were so hell-bent on blending in with the rest of the kids that we couldn't see that actually we all looked ridiculous and we just needed to smile and have more fun. So, hindsight's 20/20. I just hope that kids going through school these days, and when my kids go through schools, I'm able to actually just teach them to relax and enjoy themselves. That'll be a huge improvement. Cheers, guys. Ooh. Part Irish. Irish accent will be one of my favourite accents. Be unique rather than follow the pack. Just seeing your post about styles of art and you just exude, oh, cheers, fat boy, I appreciate that. Now, but don't get me wrong, I'm not having a go at expressionism or abstract. That's solely art history background coming out there, and actually, definitely, there's elements in my work which are very emotional and feeling based. Largely, they come out in the colour decisions rather than where the brushstrokes are placed. The brushstrokes placement, length and style is mainly Impressionism, but the colours, that would absolutely be less Impressionism and more Expressionism. But we're getting off track there. That's a fun koala. I like your style. And Navarro, cheers, mate. The hair with the gel at the front was the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen. And I know we make fun of kids today, and I've seen things like ear stretches. I mean, that's not great. And I see things like nose piercings or those nose rings and whatnot. I get it, the stuff's more permanent and these tattoos and stuff, but trust me, no one looks stupider than me and my friends back in high school. A spiked up fringe. My dad was a farmer. I was coming home thinking I was cool each day. My dad had been building fences. And this 15-year-old boy walks in with a spiked up fringe, like... coming back up there was a comment, be unique rather than follow the pack. Okay, so, sorry, I was standing too close while I was reading the comments. And cheers, John. Rainbow Bridge, that's fun. You know, my favourite bar down in Dunedin, when I was working at the Dunedin Cobb & Co there, The Dunedin Cobb & Co closed. That's a restaurant, and I was the operations manager at the time. And so what I did was I went down there it was mothballed, to reopen it, hire the team, get the brand re-established and kick-started. Now, while I'm down there doing that, there was a bar that I absolutely loved, and it was it was a bar for everyone, but it was run by three gentlemen. It was Dunedin's #1 pride bar. And they were advocating to council. They wanted rainbow pedestrian crossings, because 2 pedestrian crossings, it was on a corner, came out from the bar. And they didn't get it. But it would have been cool if they did. Because this place did the best cocktails in Dunedin. No questions asked. They were open the latest. They were open on Mondays, which was rare in Dunedin. They had a bunch of things going for them that it's inarguably the best place to go on any night of the week to have a drink. Everyone was so lovely. The music was good, but not too loud. When the music's too loud, I can't hear a single word that's been said. We'll go to a bar and the music's blasting and you're like, do you like it? And I'm just like, I can't hear a word. My ears can't do... Like, if you go into a restaurant with the concrete floors, they're trying to be fancy with the polished concrete, the reverberation of sound, I'm not hearing a thing. Not a single word. But if there's carpet on the walls and like those carpet on the floor and the carpet tiles on the wall, then now I'm going to hear. And yeah, I dance. Not well, but I dance. At weddings, that's when I'll really throw down. Giggles, will catch you later. Thanks for the Irish luck. You love me 2 years on TikTok. Oh, thank you very much. I think it has been 2 years now. There was something else there that I was supposed to say. It's gone now. I've lost it. I've lost it to the depths of the scrolling. I just can't remember the name of the bar. That's the problem. If you're ever in Dunedin, New Zealand, or if you're in Dunedin, New Zealand, you haven't been to this bar, you've missed out on a trick. It's the best place to go. But I just remembered it because of the Rainbow Bridge, and made me think of the rainbow pedestrian crossings that we were trying to get there. I say we were trying to get. I wasn't helping get the pedestrian crossings. I was just supporting the bar by drinking there. Back when I used to drink more. I hardly drink these days. I'd like to, but things like actually getting a good night's sleep and then attacking tomorrow start to become more and more important. When you're in your early 20s, you can just get up with a hangover and charge off and do your day. But in your 30s, you wonder, why would I put that difficulty on myself? And in my 40s, I'll probably just throw in the towel altogether. We'll see. We'll see. Cheers, John. It's a fun one. I need another plate. I need some turquoise. That's what needs to happen here. Christmas koala. Who animates these? They must have a full-time job. Coming on back, team. I mean, like, imagine going out and meeting someone, and you ask them, "Oh, so what do you do for a job? What's your career? What's your aspirations?" And they say to you, "Oh, I'm a full-time editor of the TikTok animations that appear on TikTok Lives." See, that would leave me with more questions. I'd be asking, okay, tell me, what makes you choose to design certain things? And I also want to see, if possible, because they'll have the ones that get chosen. Can I see some of the ones that don't get chosen? What doesn't make the cut? And Beck, thanks Beck. This one, this painting is staying here in New Zealand. Staying here in New Zealand, and I'm doing it on a canvas, which is unusual, but it gives the option of leaving it unframed. Excuse me, got a little rasp in my throat. Leaves the option of leaving it unframed. There we go. This is like a deep, luxurious Naples yellow. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. That's true, East Coast Realtor. It's true. I think each person's got their own decisions to make up around it, and depending on what you do, what your culture does, what your friends do, what your personal goals are, or what personally makes you happy, it could deviate from person to person. So I wouldn't say it's just, I think it's just like diet. I don't think there's one blueprint that we should all follow. I think that's not fair. Like Paris. Paris seemed to really like the cigarette. Cigarettes aren't so popular here in New Zealand anymore. Hardly anyone smokes. Hardly anyone. But I understand, or when I travelled to Paris, everyone was into it over there. Hello from Spain. Snow White, where in Spain are you coming from? Because my favourite place on the face of this planet, and this is not a word of a lie, is San Sebastian. My younger brother's partner is from San Sebastian, and it's not just because I share a name with the place, but it's just absolutely stunning. For those who've travelled to places like Rome, or gone just a general tourist in a lot of different places around the world, you'll know that when you leave the main track and you wander, places like Rome, or what's another good example? I don't want to places like Rome, Indonesia, maybe a little bit, not really though. But when you wander off the beaten trail, what happens? They become less safe, more dangerous, more unexpected, or less predictable or scary. But if you're in the likes of San Sebastian, you wander further off trail in San Sebastian, especially in Old Town, and you just keep finding places that are more and more beautiful, more and more unique. That's a place that when you leave the beaten trail, the place gets more beauty, which is rare. Usually, like Vegas, there's the main strip where everything looks beautiful and shiny, and then you leave the main strip and all of a sudden it's a very different site. So you have been promoted. You are now one of my elite employees. Well, that's very exciting. I don't think you've got the right guy, but I'm very excited for you. The fact that you're handing out promotions means you're enthusiastic, and that's to be encouraged. It might be misplaced, but I think the enthusiasm is good. There we go. So now that we start getting these more tan colours in here, see, this is the actual colour of the hair. She's blonde. Those blues we started with, you're still going to see underneath, creating that depth deeper in the picture. That's what we're after. Yes. Yeah, so I try and get all these lives and upload them to YouTube. So if you have to run off, you're totally all good. Sometimes it's actually easier to watch the replay, and the reason why the replay might be better is if you do just want to see painting technique or watch the picture, you can skip past colours like right now where you're working with brown and dive into a deeper colour palette here and there. Maybe you just want to see reds. They'll be in about 20 minutes. I love starting with blues though. It's always, if you've watched a few of these now, you'll typically see me start with either blue or purple. It's always one of those two, isn't it? I never really... I've done a few with yellow, and there's nothing wrong with starting with whichever colour you want. I don't like the dogma that you have to follow a set procedure. I think that's a dangerous idea to uphold, but I do typically find I prefer blue. I like to give tangible reasons for things, but ultramarine blue as a starting point just resonates with me much better than the reds or the yellows. And I think that's more of a personality and how I feel about paint thing than it is this is the correct craft mechanism. And of course you could come along and say, no, it's a craft mechanism because blue's a deeper colour and you want to start with the darker colours and then build up from there. Yeah, you could argue that, but I don't think that's the case. You can get deeper reds, you can get really dark reds, you can get deep magentas, you can get purples, and sometimes I do use purples, but I just love that depth of something that's been called beyond sea. It's ultramarine blue in Latin means beyond sea. Ultra, beyond, marine, sea, or ocean, I think. So the colour was so beautiful, so expensive and so hard to come by that they named it beyond that of which we consider the most blue of all, which is kind of a testament to how cool the colour is. In fact, calling it cool doesn't do it any justice at all. No, I do need a cloth probably. It's looking good though. Let's grab turquoise. Turquoise. Hey Ben, how we doing? You know, it's funny. These pants are just op shop pants, but they are from a brand that I haven't seen before. And who's heard of a brand? These pants are Scotch and soda. I never normally check that, but after all the talk we've had on them, I had a look. And they're Scotch and soda, which is a really, really fun name for a brand. Because that's also one of my favourite drinks. Too much sugar from sodas, like lemonades and things, gives me acid reflux, Coke, etc. But if you give me a Scotch and soda, I still like the bubbles, just leave the sugar out. How do you always have the best weather? It's a bit of a cheat, because about a week ago, the weather wasn't so great. It was hammering down with rain and wind, and I just streamed from inside the studio. So I typically pick my days. So if I'm on, unless we're just being, you know, a bit of a silly sausage, you'll typically find me out in nice weather. Sometimes I'm like, no, I've mentally prepared for this. I want to be outside. And I just charge at it anyway. That has happened. But that's more out of, what's the word? That's more from me being a perverse painter than it is actual frequent common sense. Sometimes you've just got to say, you know what, I don't care what the weather does tomorrow, I am going to go paint. I don't care if I'm under a tree and I'm having to use oils because the acrylics run too much because rain's pouring over my canvas. I'm going outside and this is happening. And look, you may learn your lesson, but on the bright side, you will get out there and you'll get to do what you love. And sometimes you just need to make that choice. Silly as it might be. Beautiful. So let's have a little look-see here. Try living in the UK, then talk to me. Yeah, fair enough. So It's funny, especially at this stage, we'd try and get some more realism into it, but actually, like psychologically, we want to see that. You've got to resist that. It's in the right place, the depth of colour's there, and we just have to keep building up layer by layer and try to get it in the right direction. It's actually beautiful at the moment. Here's the picture. I'll, so I can see it clearly. Let's go like that. So here's our picture, and there's where we're at currently. So once I show you this, you'll start to actually go, oh, that's a dog's head. I see her face. But without it, the picture makes zero sense. And this is kind of the beauty in an abstract picture like this. The fact that it's not like, oh, I can obviously see the face. I obviously know what's happening here. The level of ambiguity creates this almost Easter egg, like, hey, there's something there, but there's a key or a code or a specific little thing you haven't unlocked to fully understand it yet. That's why pictures like this are fun. There we go. Alright, bring you back. Link Blink, thank you very much from Orlando, Link. You've got great crocodile parks. Is that the same place? Orlando. Or is Orlando known for their... No, you've got the great Disney World and things like that. That's the fun. Cheer you up. The number of cheer you ups sent in this live approaches 40. It's interesting. I'm also approaching 40. 9 years off 40. The member value reward is coming soon. View more details at members thank you activity. See, I don't know what's been said, guys. I don't know what's been said, but it's at the end of the day, all the bright lights and fun that they put into these platforms, the fundamental point of it is we're live, so we're not in the same room, but figuratively speaking, we're in the same place. I mean, there'll be seconds in between your experience of the space that we've created and my experience of the space. And when we start talking like that, it's interesting because historically for the last, thousands of years, you've got together in the same space. But I think in 2024, I mean, these live platforms only really came to life for me back in maybe 2022, in terms of me understanding them in the form of, wait a minute, as humans, wherever we are, where we are in the world, we can connect and not be isolated. And this resonated much more for me because as a painter, we do go through massive isolation. You're by yourself for long periods of time, not just by yourself, but also emotional, and you're driving feelings into work for long periods of time. And that makes it really, really hard to actually perpetuate that, or more importantly, perpetuate positivity in an environment like that. Disney World, you work at SeaWorld and Universal Studios. All right, that's fun. Sorry, but the beauty behind this is, and I've said it in earlier streams, but I haven't said it in a while, is that there's this give-take relationship for me personally, is that art being a lonely venture means that I can share this with you and hopefully give something to you through this sort of a stream, and you also give something back to me, because suddenly I'm not alone. I've created a space with other people who are on this journey of creation with me, and it helps it maintain positivity, vitality and joy, where if I was by myself, that's got a slightly higher chance of slipping or languishing. So I'd like to believe that in a space like this, especially for art, there is this give-take, and there is this rejuvenation or vitality I get from sharing the process. No sir, I work at Disney World, but Orlando, see. And you also work on TV. Look at you go, Link. Look at you go. So where am I taking that thought? I'm taking that thought to the point where I say it's super, super special, both for people who, whether you need it immediately or not, the ability to connect straight away with people anywhere in the world. Previously, we'd sit alone, isolated. You know, this isn't just artists anymore, but people alone, isolated, with a deep inherent desire to connect with anyone about anything, but you're alone. But then through, well, social media on one hand is this replicating giant, sometimes ugly beast, but actually through a live platform, it's not that. It's different. And I see a lot of streams, don't get me wrong, I see a lot of streams that actually do just try and recreate control and replication. And a good example of it would be those NPC streams, which are kind of funny in their own right, but they do thrive off the idea of replicated action, control of the viewer over the performer, or control of the performer over what they're doing. Hard to explain, but I think the real place where something like a live stream can affect society in a meaningful way, the top's blocked, is when we can use these platforms to actually create virtual spaces. I think the right word to use is to nourish the human soul. I know that sounds cheesy and spiritual, but that's what I mean. Like, if you think of historically when you'd go out to social netball practice, which is still a great idea. Still a great idea to go to a social netball practice and things like this and get exercise and be around people and pass the ball. I agree with all of that. To a huge extent, I agree with that. But the ability to use your phone, which has historically been a device of addiction and a drainer on your dopamine and serotonin, to use that to actually wholesomely connect in spaces with other people of like-minded affiliations from anywhere in the world, that's I mean, we've unlocked it. That's where things matter. And I think everyone knows that suddenly this turns social media from a negative, draining addiction into something that's wholesome and beautiful. And that's why all of a sudden, over the period of like 2 years, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitch was kind of already there. TikTok started less than 2 years ago. All these services started immediately saying, here's our live offering. Go live on our platform. Watch these live videos. And all of a sudden, everyone's talking live. That happened so quickly. Before that, it was all polished, created, and thrown up content that you wouldn't even know if it was from the real creator or not. So I think there has been a quantum shift, and I think our perspective towards things like social media are about to drastically change over the next 5 years. I think we'll completely ignore a lot of things like reels that consume our time but actually don't serve us, and we'll involve ourselves in the world, especially on social media, in more conversational-based activities where actually you won't go just to consume content. That's what your TV's for, or even if the TV's even still there. You'll actually go to your phone to engage in conversation and engage in connection. And I think that's where the real value add's going to come from. I mean, think for example, would this stream exist? This one we're in right now, would this exist if we couldn't have a backwards and forwards conversation? If you couldn't ask a question, make a comment, and I couldn't read it and then hear how you felt, or actually know that you're a being who exists and we can communicate. Could it exist? I mean, like, possibly, but would it even matter if I was just, I don't know. I think fundamentally that connection is the most beautiful part of the whole thing. VR chat is kind of like that. VR chat, virtual reality chat, honestly, I don't know enough about it. I don't know enough to comment on it, I'm sorry. But sounds exciting. But I think it's just another means of us to connect. And I think that's a positive. If it is that, that's positive. That's positive. Because it's a little bit less human to watch a video, a pre-recorded video, and then comment back to it. It's sort of like you're falling into the illusion that it's a live performance that you're giving a reply back to, when actually it's not. It's kind of like it's contrived. It's a comment on it after, which is important, but it doesn't have that real zest for life that I feel like a live stream can have, or has the ability to unlock. Sorry, AI. What do I think of AI? Well, I mean, no one got upset back in like 1830 where they started synthetically creating ultramarine blue, and no one got upset now that you can go down to Warehouse Stationery, which is our equivalent of like Home Depot-ish, and you can buy every single colour of every single pigmentation right there at your fingertips, and it's all for $10 a tube. You know, no one got upset about that, but that completely revolutionised painting. You suddenly had this tool which would allow you to unlock every single colour in the spectrum. You know, a lot of Greek artwork and Egyptian artwork back thousands of years ago was made with a simple elementary group of colours because they didn't have access to a whole lot of pigments. When you think like that, AI is just another thing or another tool that's unlocked making things slightly easier. It hasn't settled yet. Just like the early pigments that got created, like Naples yellow in Van Gogh was painting, was not up to scratch and now is actually yellowing on his famous works and not lasting very well because it's volatile. It was made with, I think, a type of sulfate, which is oxidizing now. Don't quote me on that, I've forgotten, but the yellows aren't lasting. In the same way we look at AI and think it's not good enough right now. Well, it's going to get better, and it's a tool to help us be creative. But on a fundamental level, don't see it. I mean, if you've grown up as an artist or a creative of any kind, and you've always seen every other creative and artist, you know, every other composer, every other jewelry designer, not as someone who's on the same beautiful journey as you, but as the competition, then you probably saw AI and you hated it immediately. That's a dangerous place to be. Forget AI for a moment and see every other person who's creative in a similar way as you are, or creative in their own way. They make jewelry, they paint rocks, they dance, they sing, they compose music, whatever their thing is. See the beauty in that and get excited by the journey they're on. It's not an affront, it's not a challenge, it's a beautiful thing that you can witness, you can be a part of, and you can use to inspire your own journey. Once you're thinking like that, you won't see AI as an enemy, you'll see it as this can enhance the journey that us humans are on. This can enhance my ability to be creative. You know, AI is making art. Yeah, cool, good for AI. It doesn't matter how good AI makes art. The purpose of art wasn't to actually get the finished result. The purpose of art was to be making it in the first instance. So unless AI tells us you're not allowed to make art, it's actually taken nothing away from you. You can still make your beautiful art, feel the flow state, enjoy the process. But if anything, AI said, look, let me do the perfection part. I'll do the perfect pictures, perfect gradients, perfect angles, and I'll use a culmination of every single bit of knowledge in human history to do it. You just concentrate on using your emotions, using your feelings, embodying love, having fun, having joy while you do it. In fact, AI, if it was conscious, would be super confused with you if it was saying, hey, I can literally do anything you want to do. All you have to do now is be happy while you do your craft. Why are you miserable? It would be confusing. You need to feel joy while you make what you make. You need to, if it doesn't give you a zest for life, if you don't wake up, I want to use the word here, desperate to do it, look in the mirror and ask yourself, why are you doing it? There's easier ways to make a living than creativity. So you're doing creativity because your soul, your heart, your being, your psyche, you need it. Okay, well in that case, how has it become something that drains you? Let's assess that, let's change that, let's alter that. But, and this is directly at ends with everything I've just said, if it was a competition, and it's not, but if it was, if you're competing with AI and it's human versus AI, there's a very, very big difference between the two. And it's so basic and it gets overlooked everywhere I go. Here's the difference. AI is a culmination of human understanding from every piece of text and every image that's ever existed in the digital realm ever. It's everything all at once everywhere. So it can only be the best, or it can only be a generalization of everything. It can't be an individual. It can't lack the information or exist only as an individual, unless it actually opted to shut off big portions of itself to pretend it was an individual, which it could only do if it only had that big portion of itself. It can't be you. You're limited. You're human. You're an individual. You're not a culmination of every human. You're one simple spark on one small journey. And that in itself is something that AI can never be. AI will always be everything. You will always just be one. And that's not a limitation on you. That is arguably the most beautiful thing you could ever be, because what you'll always be is unique. But AI will always be everything all at once. If you got the option of being everything ever all at once, or being singular and unique, that's a rhetorical question, because the latter is the one you're always going to want to be. Surely. And if you don't want the latter, you're gonna, in the next few years, you'll get the option to choose AI. So everyone's gonna be happy. What's that? Kitsy Cat. That's a nice name. So you're basically arguing that our unique life paths are a perspective. No. AI could have that perspective. It'll understand everything perfectly down to a T. But the fact that you can only ever be that life path, and that's everything you are in a culmination, unique and small, that's very different from everything all at once, one thing on one track. So each thing has its place, don't get me wrong. Each thing has a unique spot on the planet, and honestly, for this planet to be whole, or for us to really get into the depths of everything art and humanity and existence is all about, yeah, we absolutely have to have both. Humans creating art and AI creating art, and humans existing and AI existing. In fact, it sounds healthy more than anything. The first thing you need to do, I mean, you don't need to do anything. Get told some information by a crazy Kiwi. You don't need to do anything I say, but the best thing you could do is look at it and see how it can help you. It's not like you're sitting there doing your craft and AI's like, I'm not going to help you. AI is sitting there saying, tell me anything you want, I'll do it for you. This is, oopsie daisies. What's happening here? Verify to continue. Drag the puzzle piece. There we go. There we are. It did the thing where it tried to cut the stream. There we go. Verify to continue. Where was I going with the... that's right. AI Art's literally asking you to give it jobs. It wants to help you. JM, which part of New Zealand are you in, Seb? I would love to purchase one of your arts. First off, thank you so much. That's an absolutely lovely thing to say. And second off, at the moment, my studio is completely sold out. We're working on a few commissions at the moment, but the current project of capturing human emotions and portraits is about half a month to a month away at the moment. So the best thing to do though is reach out to me via emails. You'll find everything in the link in the bio. Jump on that, you'll find my email, you'll find a commission link, you'll find the best thing to do, just reach out via any social media or email and just tell me what you like or what you're interested in, and when a work shows up that is available, or whether you're after a specific commission, we can talk about that and make steps. I can't do it, definitely not in the next 10-15 days, if that's okay, just because there's a couple of commissions that have been stacked up on me. I'm on the old catch up, and as you can see, I talk a lot and take my time. Sorry, Chad. Seb, I saw my shrink today. He said, I don't have OCD, but my personal trainer says I have OBCD. I think you need to sit down with your trainer and say, look mate, I don't think I need you. I hired you to get me in shape, but last time I checked, round was also a shape. At the end of the day, that sounds like a terrible personal trainer. I think a personal trainer's job is to actually, I don't know, historically, especially in the 90s, a personal trainer's job was to get you fit, get you the body that you see on Arnold Schwarzenegger and stuff. I don't think that's the job of a personal trainer. I think the job of the personal trainer is to actually show you what's fun about getting your blood pumping, showing you what's fun about exercise, showing you why you should feel innate joy from doing certain activities. And like, that means that, you know what, the gym's not made for everyone. It's got one type of music, it's got specific equipment, and everyone's wearing pretty similar stuff, so it's more like a club. It may not fit for it may not fit for you personally in the character of who you are, but like the personal trainer would be the kind of person who would like figure out, hey, social sport is where you'll thrive actually, or hey, home workouts, or you know, doing something with your friends or your partner, or you know, I think so far we've always accepted that actually it's a mind or a willpower thing and one size fits one. Well, last time I checked, that philosophy didn't really work for education, so why are we applying it to fitness? Because I think as we see a million different people with a million different bodies, with a million different diets and a million different exercise routines, sounds like one size might fit one. But that's, I mean, I'm not an expert on it. It's not my field. But I do know that if it's obviously a good thing, but if it has to also be fun, you know, the effort of trying doesn't have to be something that's misery or depressing. The effort of trying should be something that actually you walk away from going, I'm so glad I did that. That was amazing. Now, I know a lot of people feel that from climbing hills, and good for them, but for me, I don't get that kick after a mountain climb. Not so much. I get that kick after carrying the groceries inside when there's way too many bags. I get that kick when I get to carry someone a portion of a mountain. I get that kick with like those games you can play of obstacle courses, like ninja obstacle courses. I love that stuff. That gets my blood pumping. But in terms of talking about the likes of saying that all humans should do the same workout, and your lack of ability to do so to the same music, wearing the same clothes, shows a lack of willpower. I'm like, I like country music. I'm not going to drag someone else, some stranger, out to a country music festival and expect them to like it, and if they don't, they're the weird one. I feel like that's what's been sold a little bit with fitness. You mix them up, you're obviously American. What are you getting mixed up? Whatever it is, you're forgiven. Yes. Yes, the accents. You're all good, Mike. They sound pretty much exactly the same for the rest of the world. Now, I'll be getting pretty caught up on yarning here at the moment, but this is going well though. We're not getting a whole lot of painting done, but we're landing these strokes in really, really nice places because in amongst these yarns, it's funny, the conversation's sort of like wind or heat or sun or all these other elements that you can run into while you're painting. Would you call it a distraction, a challenge? I'd say an added moving cog that takes you away from the feeling that you need to be in control of everything. And if you can embrace that, it improves where the brushstrokes lie. These inherently chaotic brushstrokes. If I was just sitting here by myself, I'd overthink every brushstroke to the point that actually 30%, maybe 20% would land in the right place. That's what overthinking does. And the end result would inevitably be worse. So, with that in mind, the actual conversation of a live format environment actually improves the end. I've got paint on my nose then. Improves the actual artwork itself. What's he looking at? And I'm looking at a beautiful view of a sea that's tide's going out on. So here's our picture. We've got a lovely lady snuggling into the head of her dog, and we're just slowly capturing all the shapes that make this picture unique. We've gone from our darker shades too, and now we're into our lighter colours. So now we're getting into our pinks, pastel blues. We'll dive across after this colour to Naples yellow. And then our final colour will be white, if we get to that stage for this painting session. Now, I have been told by Shelby I need to clean the house, so it's pretty clean, but I've got to put in a bit of effort before she gets home, otherwise she'll be unimpressed. And she's the one who's pregnant right now, so I'm going to put in a bit of effort. I think that's fair. Hey ASD, how are you doing? Oh, you were asking about the picture. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. Let's get that through there. Beautiful. Beautiful. I just want you to know that you're my favorite girl. There we go. Beautiful. And then down through here, this one gets... That's actually... There we go. Underneath it there. There we go. Beautiful. Nice clean brush strokes. And then is this a bit more red in there if I can. There we go. A bit more salmon-y. Beautiful. Taylor, you're having shrimp. How very American of you. Like Forrest Gump. Shrimp this, shrimp that. Shrimp soup, shrimp tacos, shrimp, barbecued shrimp. And he pauses. And that's just about all the kind of shrimps you can get. Are you trying to paint your shorts? No, but if you look at the belt here, I'm not impervious to making mistakes. Bunch of blue paint, and then I like the belt though, it's got character. It's got paint on it. And I I was considering scratching the paint off, and I thought, nah, it's part of what makes the belt the belt. I'm just going to own that. I like a clean shirt, because when the shirt gets dirty, I get sloppy. And when I get sloppy, paint just goes everywhere and it doesn't feel as good. It's more important that actually, as you're painting, I still want chaos, but I need, in some sense, so I talk about relinquishing control. You can't fully relinquish control. You need to pursue it in some areas to help you understand yourself better, or help you put the chaos on the artwork. So I keep control in making sure the paint... Oh no! I'm a liar, look at that. Ruined. Absolutely ruined. I try and keep control in that I keep the paint off me. Now, sorry, that question there, oils or acrylics? I use everything, but if I'm using anything other than tempera or gouache, I'm doing it outside. And the reason I do that is because, despite what the public sentiment might have you think, these paints, especially the good paints, are absolutely loaded with things that aren't so good for you. And that's why painters can change drastically over the years. It's not just their creative journey, it's their brains being melted by what's in the paint. So, unless you're using something that, I mean, if it dries via evaporation, if it dries via solvents coming off it and off-gassing, this is so bad for you. Tempera is the only thing I'd use inside, in that tempera dries via coagulation, via the proteins and the fats emulsifying. But if you're not doing tempera, I'm so sorry, I'd avoid inside altogether. Now, if people have said to me, like, what if it's like, I've got a ventilated studio, I can open the door. And I'm like, what I say back is, if you're in a box with 4 walls and a roof, that is the opposite of ventilation. Opening one door does not change that. And Mike, thanks for subscribing, you absolute legend. Mike, you should also get an invite to the Discord channel, which would be lucky to have you on, mate. So, hopefully we'll see you on there later today. It's a small community, but it's a bit of fun. Oh, what about it makes it toxic? Birdie, I see you do a lot of your paintings already outside, so you're pretty safe, but it's a good question. Okay, so when it comes to oils, in fact, let's wait for that noisy car to pass. Talking about paints in general, there's a couple of elements to paint. There is the binder, there is the pigment, and there is the solvent. So when we talk about it like that, the binder or the vehicle is what makes the paint move. So in egg tempera, it's the egg that you mix in with the pigment to move it. With acrylic paints like these ones, it's an acrylic polymer, and that means it's like a plastic, or it's basically a plastic, a resiny plastic. And then with oils, a lot of people, it's the linseed oil that makes the vehicle for it. But the reason why oils dry so juicy and lovely coloured is because of the solvents inside the oil actually off-gassing, evaporating, causing, or oxidizing, causing the actual paint itself to freeze in these beautiful, you know, shiny, amazing ways. Now, if you don't believe there's anything in the oils, a great test to do, because the oils are literally, if they are what some people say they are, as literally just linseed oil and pigment, mix linseed oil and pigment and then apply it. See if it feels the same or dries the same. And then ask yourself, did they just blend it differently, or actually am I working with something that's missing something? There is nasty stuff inside oil paints, especially historically, to make them look so beautiful. Acrylics are pretty well known what's inside those. It's just these nasty acrylic polymers. If you get too close to them, or you're around them too much, it'll be the equivalent of sniffing PVA glue long term. Now that's not ideal. We'd like to avoid that if possible. If you were in school and the idea of sniffing glue is not that good for you, that's to be avoided. Now it's not that bad if you can be outside like we are right now. This is off-gassing into the big old world, so it's very safe. Oils have been difficult for me to work with in the past. That's true, and the best test you can do, guys, the best test you can do, if you want to know if something's actually got some chemicals in it acting on it on you, pigment itself should have no effect once it's in a liquid form. It doesn't evaporate, it just sits there. It is, when it's in a powdered form, it can get into your sinuses and into your lungs, and since it's such fine powder, it's dangerous for you. But, are you going to basement tonight? No. Always working outside. But, if you get your oils or your acrylics, this is the best test I do. When someone says to me, I got given these sticks recently. We were doing a mountain picture with it, and they said these are oil, linseed, and wax. They're completely safe. You'll be able to use them inside your studio with no ventilation, and they'll be primo. And I said, that sounds fantastic. I think I bought $5,000 worth of these sticks to trial, and anyway, so $500 worth of these sticks. And the best test was, I did it in the studio, unventilated. Now I'm not saying put yourself at risk like that, but this was considered a safe product. And then I use it for 5 to 6 hours and I leave the studio. And I thought, no, I can feel it in my frontal lobe. I can feel that tingling feeling. This is not just normal. This isn't healthy. You can do the same thing with acrylics and oils. If you leave the studio feeling like you've taken a drug, or you're lightheaded or sick or nauseous, the paint's had an effect on you. And you can't leave a studio every day for your entire art career of 60 years feeling lightheaded and nauseous because you've been ingesting chemicals from the paint. That has to stop. You have to look after yourself. You have to change the way in which this works. It's so hard when raining and I want to paint and I just paint on the side. It can be really tough, Birdie, absolutely. And yes, with oils inside, and if the wind's blowing the wrong way, even oils outside. So one thing you can do is set up your canvas outside, somewhere shady, and actually have the wind blowing this way. So it takes the harmful substances that you breathe in. In oils case, it's what's called Vox. And some of them say low Vox or no Vox. Typically, if on the back it says you must dispose of these in a proper chemical receptacle, then don't believe the front of it that says it's safe. Those things are at ends with each other. But anyway, if you feel that way, one of the best things to do, especially when it's raining, for $200, go to the Home Depot store and buy a gazebo. Put that gazebo in your backyard or somewhere outside, and with that, then you can paint under it in the rain, but you can be outside with the fumes dispersing. Because I know you want to make masterpieces, and as an artist, you feel like that's all that matters, the next masterpiece. Nothing in the art world ever that you create will be more valuable than you looking after yourself. So please look after your brain. Everything you are in the art world is the way you think. Why would you put that in jeopardy by melting your frontal lobe? Please don't do it, please. How did you get started on painting? Did you attend school? That is an excellent question. In terms of how I got started painting, I have been painting ever since I was a little tacker. But if you want the full description, Mike, because a lot of the poor folks here have heard it multiple times, you can get it on sebgower.com on the About page. But it involves a little bit of tertiary education, a little bit of tutoring, a little bit of friends, a little bit of love, universities, polytechs, and yeah. But like I say, the most important thing on the whole journey was the people you meet along the way, the peers, your friends, the ones who love you and care about you and want you to head in the right direction. And Birdie and any other artists that are in here who had a little warning lamp go off, thinking like, ooh, I feel a bit lightheaded and spacey and weird when I finish my painting sessions. Was that not all good for me? Look, that one session was fine. That session 5 days a week for 40 years, you're going to be a different person. And if I told you that your art career, by the end of it, was going to change you in the way that chemicals were going to melt your frontal lobe beyond you being the same person, you'd be a different individual with different emotions and different thoughts, you would opt for a different way. So, you are welcome to reach out with me with your unique situation, and we can try and work out some solutions for you. And like I was saying to Birdie, it might be as simple as just getting a gazebo, so when it's raining, you can still paint outside. But guys and girls, you've got to look after that frontal lobe. Especially in the age of technology or information, your brain and what you think and the way you're able to actually articulate yourself and feel is the most important thing you could leave intact. Don't risk it to some silly manufacturer of paint who cares nothing for how you feel or your frontal lobe or your ability to make art for the next 40 years. I know that sounds rough, but at the end of the day, they're just companies trying to make $1, and they're doing it off you, and they're risking your health in the process. Watercolors, I don't like watercolors because I can't layer them up, but watercolors are arguably the safest of all the mediums. Watercolors and gouache are up there amongst the best in terms of safety. Now you can use these inside, provided you get the right ones. And typically a good rule to apply is if you crack open the lid and smell it, and you can smell it, that's a bad sign. I'm not saying it's the end of it, but it's usually a bad sign. If you can smell what smells like chemicals, then let that be the first red flag that goes off. Not the deal breaker, but the red flag. And if this is the first you've ever heard about this sort of carry-on, please check your paints. Candiums, cobalts, anything that has heavy metals in it, get rid of it. Get rid of it. That stuff causes cancer. That stuff's bad for your brain. That stuff is in the paint because it was cheaper to make and it was easier to sell, and you bought it. And that's totally okay, but get rid of it. And if you do want to use it to get your value back, please use it outside where you're not breathing in heavy metals that we know kill people. Like, think of back in the day where Van Gogh was painting. We suspect that he actually got poison from his paints that actually caused him to go slowly insane over 10 years. The Naples yellow that was used for a long time had lead in it. And then you look at the likes of somewhere in Asia, they were putting white on their faces to look more beautiful, but the white paint they had was lead white. And so these women were causing themselves drastic health problems because they were putting lead, raw lead on their faces. Wild, absolutely wild. So I'm so sorry, Birdie. If it's got cobalt in it, that's a heavy metal and it is bad for you. And I know sometimes the ones with the heavy metals look pretty. And they do, because the heavy metals in it makes it just look absolutely gorgeous. But you'll see a lot of the time in the art shops, they'll have candium-free paints, which you can purchase. And I definitely encourage that. If you're asking yourself, well, why do they sell something that's poisonous if it's bad for me? Because they're allowed to sell it, and you bought it, and that's fantastic. But now that you know it's not great for your health, you can opt for the candium-free paint, which for a lot of the synthetic colours actually look fairly similar, so you'll be entirely safe. Greyish makeup. I think it was when they were making their faces beautiful and white for performances or for attraction and things, but this was a long time ago. Lead paint is gone. Gone burger. Lead's terrible for you. Terrible. Or was it mercury? There was something really bad in it. What do I use instead for blue? You'll find there's typically a name for paints. It's called you'll find it's called blue hue, or usually you'll see the reds are called red hue or yellow hue. What that means is they have usually synthetically made the colour, and so you'll be able to get your blue, but not from candiums and cobalts. Candiums are usually found in the reds. Cobalts are typically found in the blues. But if you go into the paint store, Birdie, and you ask them, they'll usually be quite knowledgeable about the pros and the cons of it to look after you. All right, that's good. Don't use that one inside anymore. No more inside with the cobalt blue. Leave that. Leave it outside. Do me that one favor. Just that one color. Please leave it outside. You don't need it. It's dangerous for you. I'm so sorry. You probably bought it. It's probably full of paint, but please, 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 please don't use it. Oh, thanks, Domsky. And Taylor. Welcome on in, Taylor. Been a while since you've been here. It's been a while since you've been here. Good to have you back, Taylor. All right. Now I'm going to start throwing around some transparent yellow. See where that takes us. Yeah. Anyway, that's everything to do with paint. Like I say, any more questions, don't hesitate to DM me. You can tell that I'm really, really passionate about this. So if you're trying to improve your health while pursuing painting, absolutely give me a dial, because I would love to help out. I don't sell any products or anything like that, sorry, to actually help with it, but I can try and give recommendations on what you need or where you should get it. That's the best I can do. But as a starting point, if you've never thought about it before, just thinking about it and asking the questions is a great place to start. And usually I find the best place to ask those questions is something like Chatbot GBT. Chatbot GBT can actually really, really get down to the nitty gritty. You can send it the information on the back of the paint tubes and it'll tell you exactly what you need to know, which I find pretty cool. We're going to go for a slightly smaller brush now, if I've got a line around here. Yes, I do. Ooh, do I? I thought I did. We'll stick with this one for a bit longer. Hey, yeah. Well, Salvador Dali didn't just paint. He did a whole range of things. He did... he made movies, and he was all over the show. Anyway, the point is, look after your health. That's the main thing here. That's where we get down to the nitty gritty of exactly what it is. The temperature. Hoo-wee, hoo-wee. The temperature here is like 23, maybe hotter. It's a hot day. It's a very hot day. And, I actually have something pretty funny scheduled for today. I've got to be doing a children's painting class for a birthday party in the next 30 minutes. 30 minutes, no, hour and a half or so. So, that's going to be pretty funny. Yes. Yeah, I've done a few wine nights. They're more for fun. They're, look, it's a fun way to entertain a group and have a good night out and get a soft introduction to painting. It's certainly something I'd do more of. But right now, I'm so tied up trying to keep up with commissions that I haven't had time to actually get a group of people together, have some sodas or cocktails, get the paint out, have a picture. Last time was just before Christmas, actually. And I did it with the crate team, which was pretty fun. Pretty fun. All right, team. I've got to dive off now and start cleaning the house. But so Shelby's entertained when I come back. But I will catch you all on the flip side. There's where we've got to. I'll give you a quick squiz at what the picture looks like. Voila. This is our picture. This is where we've got to so far. There's tons more to add, but the general vibe is there. The general vibe is there. Now, I've got to go change the sheets on the bed, check the washing, and make sure there's no junk lying around for all the visitors that are coming by. So, look after yourselves, guys, and I will catch you later. Any links you need are in the bio, and apart from that, wherever you are in the world, have a great day or a great night. Bye, guys.